Hi, I'm here with Kevin Kerrigan of Fulton County, Georgia, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a security incident that he had.
Thank you, Brent. Happy to be here. Happy to share Fulton County's story. As many know, Fulton County, county seat, city of Atlanta, largest county in the state of Georgia. I've been happy to serve as their CIO now for just over a year and a half. And as part of my 1 year anniversary, we unfortunately had a pretty significant cybersecurity incident. So this started, I can remember the day quite clearly. I was out for a morning run on a Sunday morning, the last day of January, when both my CISO and our emergency management officer called back to back. And I was like, well, that seems concerning. And when I took the call, basically it was shared that we're under attack and that we've been a victim of ransomware. And so that led to a multi-month recovery strategy that the county, I think, did an excellent job of responding to with cross-functional teams. And, it was just, I think, quite an example of both, strong teamwork, but also some good preparation on our part in IT to have our systems well documented, to know how we were going to recover and priority to recover.
That's a nice little wake-up call for your first-time CIO in that particular role, right? And when you talk about the preparation of this, right, what about disaster recovery planning, and how soon had you done that before this incident had happened?
So DR is always top of mind. I had the privilege and honor of serving as the IT director for Hillsborough County in Tampa, Florida for many years, where we were always planning for natural disasters. So DR was a big part of our makeup, right? So that was the big impetus for preparation. We were starting to implement more of that at Fulton County. However, upon my arrival, what I really was looking at was app rationalization. Let's fully understand our full stack of software in the environment, the dependencies on the infrastructure, where those servers sit, the applications that reside on them, the databases and their dependencies. And actually, I'd brought in a firm to help us really meet with all of the business units to document all of that, which occurred really in the fall and winter leading up to this incident. So that was something that was an initiative of mine coming into the role, wanting to get my arms around the environment, see where we could get some economies of scale and some quick wins and where we needed to sunset certain technologies. So that became really the roadmap of recovery, because that really told us which systems were top priority, where they sat, and how we were going to tackle bringing them back online.
You and I have talked a lot about strategy and planning and how security falls into that play. What have you learned from this going forward?
So I think it's imperative that, one, you have cyber security insurance, or that you're self-insured, one of the two. I would say go the route of the cybersecurity insurance. One, the bar is constantly moving to stay insured, which means you're constantly then implementing proactive measures to keep a strong security posture. And so I would say one of the key lessons, though, was when you do need to leverage your insurance policy, you need to also pick your external counsel, because you're going to naturally go through some kind of a criminal investigation and a forensics analysis around what potentially was exfiltrated from your environment. So I think what we learned was you need to know who those companies are that are covered under your provider's insurance policy, but also meet with them, know how you're going to activate, know which firms you're going to work with to bring in. We had to go through a process in which we had to quickly interview, because we had worked with a firm, but they had worked on a fairly small contained data breach and just were not positioned to handle such a much larger event. I mean, this incident impacted our entire on-prem server infrastructure. And so we were having to bring back on, hundreds of systems through our recovery. And so having a firm that you have a relationship with, what remediation partners you're going to work with, and you can execute upon that within hours instead of maybe days or weeks, is really going to shrink your recovery, footprint.
Yeah, and I want everybody to know, too, that this recovery happened very rapidly. Like, usually these types of things take a very long time, and I know you're on the city side of things at Atlanta. They had an incident very similar to yours, and it took a very long time. You, however, did it in a matter of months, weeks even.
And I think that was, one is being, in the same region as Atlanta and seeing what they went through. There was a lot of funding that was then infused into our cybersecurity strategy. So I think that positioned us well. I think we were able to isolate the incident fairly quickly. So while it impacted our server infrastructure, it did not impact our endpoints, any of our cloud environments. And so I think that footprint was contained to where we could recover in a timeline that wasn't as significant as some of our peer governments. I would say, with that said, having that well-documented kind of playbook ahead really helped us quite a bit. And while it was a painful experience, the silver lining is we did make decisions to move some of our most mission-critical systems to the cloud, which was already really on our roadmap, and we really just accelerated that to where we did have minimal downtime. I think Fulton County operates at its best in a crisis. I think we did a great job from a COVID perspective, and this was just another example of cross-functional teams needing to come together and make decisions quickly, and I think that being part of our nature allowed us to move swiftly through this recovery as well. And so by shifting, I'd say, 4 out of our 5 mission-critical systems to the cloud as part of this process, we were back to running the majority of our operations within the first 30 days of the incident. We had great workarounds during that gap to where we did not, for maybe just a few days, had to shut down some specific government services, but for the most part, it was fairly seamless to constituents, residents, and anyone that was leveraging local government services during that incident.
And that brings up a good point. So what was the total amount of downtime from start to finish?
Well, I would say we went through a set of a phased recovery. So we went after our most mission critical systems first, which was our back office ERP platform. My county manager asked, he said, "What's the most important thing we need to bring back up?" I said, "Well, we need to be able to pay our employees. We need to pay our vendors." And we wanted to run payroll within a week of the incident, right? So we made that decision to shift to our ERPs, our vendors' cloud environment, and we were able to successfully run payroll that following Friday with an accurate payroll to include the time the overtime work that IT had worked as well during that incident. So I think that this shows how quickly we were able to make that change happen and make those decisions while working to establish our external counsel, bringing in more insurance resources, bringing on-prem remediation firms as well.
Being adaptive. We got about 30 seconds left, but I want to ask one question. If you could give any takeaways to people that are watching this right now as a CIO, what would you say?
I think, COVID taught us we need to be able to work from anywhere and leverage technology. I think when now you talk about cyber incidents and it's just a matter of not if, but when, what does your return to a manual process look like if you need to? So understanding your business process, understanding what continuity of operations look like for some determined period of time where you may be down 24 hours, 48 hours, or a week, and really then truly do that and run that way in some form of a tabletop or more defined process to you really know what are you going to need to continue to operate mission critical services and systems. Practice it. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. And that's been Kevin Kerrigan with Fulton County, Georgia.